Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Can you guys hear me out there in YouTube land? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. How is it coming through, everybody? Is it okay?
You don't know, it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, part of the show. And they teach you to reach for the stars while opening up the bars and keeping you chained down with mortgage bills and cars, vaccines for your arms, kids sounding like supercharged, caffeinated hate-filled scars and rage-quit repertoires, no answers for yards, caught up in emotion that's not even yours, impossible truths like impeccable retards, lined up for your serving of bitch galloping wars, no remedy can save the lost, in love with the yarn. I'm tired of walking into refracted shards, poor science displayed by disgusting cards. Soaked in sin with your dupe is the light in a new hand of cards. Been so long, seems like for love, I'm just too hard, that's it. Welcome to the show. You don't know, it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, you don't know. Intoxicated ache makes you believe you're spinning in space while you have no shame or grace.
All right, I got 2 watching. I'm doing a mic check, trying to make sure you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, please just check in and say, gotcha, give me a thumbs up.
Forced to try and wait on the food plate. No one to help me stay awake or educate. I got to liberate and fight through hidden gates. But my brother, heaven could never be late. And rockets don't work in space. It's all fake. The show is on Mars. It's a joke, but they're too far gone.
All right, thank you, no voter ID. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
God's holy bond and lives of truth that hits the bound and sings the sound that turns mankind from the wrong. We come in peace with a holy gown and all of us wearing our holy crowns. So the earth is flat and we probably just won't get along. Just to go along, I said. Welcome to the show. You don't know, it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, you don't know.
You can just type in thumbs up. Otherwise, it's right below the message bar that you're going to send your message in if you're on your PC. There's a little smiley face emoticon or emoji.
Welcome to the show. You don't know, it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. You don't know, part of the show. And they teach you to reach for the stars while opening up the bars and keeping you chained down with mortgage bills and cars, vaccines for your arms, kids sounding like supercharged, caffeinated hate-filled scars and rage-quit repertoires, no answers for yards, caught up in emotion that's not even yours, impossible truths like impeccable retards, lined up for your serving of gish galloping wars, no remedy can save the lost, in love with the yarn. I'm tired of walking into refracted shards, cards, poor science displayed by disgusting bards. Soaked in sin with your dubious delight in a new hand of cards. It's so long, it seems like for love, I'm just too high, I'm just too high, that's it. Welcome to the show.
All right, so I just got a text that the audio is not that great. How do I sound, everybody? Can you hear me okay? Turning the music down. Check, check, check. This is Red Hen Radio. Welcome to the first Truth Talks. It's the only thing that came to my mind, so I called it Truth Talks. So we'll see how this goes. I got a loud and clear from no voter ID, but then I got a text from someone else that the quality was poor. So please give me some feedback right now if you can hear me okay, please. Eric, are you there? Can you check in, Eric? Mark, if you're out there. Mark says all good. Okay, it's all good now. Okay, thanks, guys. All right, I think I'm going to try to make the call. I just got the unavailable. Give me a call when you're back. All right, so here we go. Yeah, you got to love these little hiccups. So there we go. All right, I've got nothing planned in the meantime. This is Truth Talks with Red Hen Radio. Here we go. He's calling me. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, fellas.
How are we doing, Swiss Geezer?
Trying to get my loudspeaker working here. I'm not real good with Skype, especially on a cell phone.
Okay.
That's what we want. Okay, you're on.
All right, so give me just a real quick sound check for you. Do the days of the week.
Monday through Friday.
1, 2, skip a few, right?
That's good enough for me.
All right. All right. Well,
much I can do. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, you sound okay on my end, so we're just gonna go with it and see how this goes for our first Truth Talk on Red Hen Radio. Thanks for being my first live guest, Swiss Geezer. What I'm interested in is for us just to hear your story, and as we talk about understanding the nature of our world. So if you want to just start, really at the beginning in terms of what were some things that began to open your eyes to the reality of our world?
Well, I wrote what my awakening was when I realized that Building 7 could not fall at free fall speed without being blown to pieces in a pre-planned conspiracy. And I figured that out about 2005 or 2006. Before then, there were too many people who, if you started doubting the narrative on 9/11, they'd get really upset. And finally, and I always tried to just, be agnostic about it. And finally, it just got too far, and I could not accept it anymore. And so I just, And that was about the time my son died. He was 20 in a house fire in Switzerland. And that was about the first time they stole the election from Ron Paul, and the whole Obama, Sortero, Kenyan citizen abduction of the presidency happened, and then things, my awakening just cascaded from there.
All right, so but your your revoking of your citizenship happened before that, correct?
When it happened, the concrete decision happened when it looked like Obama. It happened in November when Obama was elected. That's when we implemented our plans.
Okay, so was that ad hoc? I mean, just right there and then, or did you already have stuff in the works?
We've been building up.
Right.
We've been building up. The tax situation was completely out of hand. And, I don't know whether you know about FBAR and FATCA and all the rules that they've been imposing. And every year it was getting more draconian. And then for years, nobody reported their foreign bank accounts. None of the expats, the Americans living overseas, reported their foreign bank accounts. And all of a sudden, they started talking about fining you 50% of the maximum value for the year. Right? And because we had always been compliant, right? But the problem was the burden of proving your compliance every year got worse and worse and worse. And so you throw that in with what was going on in the government, the Iraq war, the surge, and then you see that 9/11 was a big hoax, and the government's a sham. And why would I want to remain a citizen in that and be a slave? And it's a good thing we dropped, because if we hadn't, it would have ruined our life. If we hadn't dropped then, it would have ruined our life. None of my family understand this. They always say to me, "Oh, why couldn't you just pay your taxes?" Well, God.
Yeah. So
people, yeah.
So kind of unpack that a little bit. What do you mean by ruined your life? Can you unpack that a little bit?
Well, if you're not aware, with Trump's Tax Cut Jobs Act, TCJA, that he enacted at the very end of 2017, he made it retroactive from the beginning of 2017, and it applied the transition tax, takes all the retained earnings of a CFC, a certified foreign corporation, going back to 1986, adds them all up, and applies a one-time tax on the owner of the shares of 17.5%. And the CFC is a certified foreign corporation. And this only applies to expats, right? It applies also to Americans living in America that own foreign companies or own more than 10% of a foreign company. But this affects expats far and away more than anybody else. An expat being a U.S. person living outside of the United States. So what happens is, we started a company a while back, and we would have had to go back, and we pay Swiss taxes on it. And it's all done to Swiss accounting rules. And so now, all of a sudden, Trump passes this great tax cut that completely reams all the expats who happen to be investing, or entrepreneurs, or people doing their own thing. And they have to go back and account for all their intangible income, their retained earnings, basically, in a completely different accounting system going back to 1986. That would have taken us, hundreds and hundreds of hours of work. And then, even worse, you never even know if you're really compliant, because nobody in the federal government understands this shit. It's too complicated. Not even the high-paid tax consultants understand this. I know. I've been to them. I paid $1,000 an hour to these guys, and they're all idiots. I don't know. You have to have the best lawyers from Wall Street or something. Maybe they can help you out, but you can't go down to your little lawyer in Podunk, your tax attorney in Podunk, Illinois, and he'll know about any of this stuff. They don't. So we would have been stuck doing all this again every year. When we were still U.S. citizens, every year April was a nightmare, because people don't understand. In America, everything's all set up, so it's easy for you to figure out what your taxes are. When you're living overseas, it's not the same way. The reporting, they're different. There's no 1099, there's no W-4s, there's none of that stuff. You got to go gather all this stuff, figure out what the federal government wants, get it all reported on a piece of paper, and send it off, and then try to apply your FEIE, your foreign earned interest income exemption, FEIE, foreign earned income exemption. So, and to make the long story short, we pay taxes where we live. Swiss taxes are a real pain in the ass, I'll tell you. But then to have to go through all that with the Swiss, and then have to do it again with the Americans, and have to pay taxes on taxes, because you do. The Americans like to pretend that's not the way it is, but you have to pay taxes on taxes. And every year, hundreds of hours, just miserable. So we said, and then you have 9/11, you have Obama coming, you know that Obamacare is going to be a nightmare. By the way, expats still have to pay for Obamacare even though they don't get anything out of it. So, yeah, that's why.
All right. So my question is,
the transition time for 2017, but now they have GILTI, the Global Intangible Low Tax Income Tax for expats. And that means that if you're an expat and you own a share or own foreign corporation, you have to pay 17.5% tax on all retained earnings of that corporation. According to you, which means you have to have two sets of
Swiss Geezer, are you walking around a little bit?
Your corporation that is owned by 10% by or more by an American.
You broke up a little bit right there. Are you moving around, or are you stationary? Can you hear me? Checking back with you.
Yeah, the tax burden was it's for compliance. People don't understand. And plus the IRS has these draconian penalties, and they're even worse for expats.
Okay, so can you hear me right now, Swiss Geezer?
I'm not hearing you, Travis.
Checking, check on the...
Hello? Yeah, connection lost.
I can hear you. I'm going to try to type a message to you. All right, so loud and clear both sides. It's something happened on my side with Swiss Geezer, so I'm just typing in. Here we go for station identification. Hello? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
I can hear you. All right, just hold tight, everybody.
You hear me?
You don't know if it's part of the show.
Hello?
Yeah, I could hear you, and you started breaking up at one point, and you kept talking, but I could hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay.
I can explain it. I'm on the hill, and we have no fixed net. And we have a little satellite or a little receiver that gets a signal from an antenna on the hill. And it's flaky. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So it probably just drifted out a little bit, and now it's back again.
Okay, yeah, because when you started to drift out, I asked you if you were moving around, but at that point you couldn't hear me at all. So I just thought, well, we'll just ride it out and see what happens. So okay, we're back on. Okay, so what I guess my question is, it's like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. So what made Switzerland a viable option? You know, it's not an issue, obviously, for you. It's not like you said, I'm going to go someplace where there are no taxes. So, you know, kind of talk through your decision to move where you did.
living in Switzerland already for over 15 years when I dropped my U.S. citizenship, and I've gotten my Swiss citizenship over 10 years earlier, right?
Okay.
Actually, because of my parents, I always had. My parents are Swiss ancestry, and my wife's too.
That's
and
right.
So there's no issue me getting Swiss citizenship. As soon as we moved to Switzerland, I got Swiss citizenship, and we were good Americans. We were the best ambassadors America had. I always talked up America. People loved us. People loved America, and America's destroyed that. Every expat across the world hates America. I'll guarantee it. We all hate America for what they've done. The IRS. Nobody in America cares. Nobody cares. Trump goes around, everybody says, oh, tax cut, tax cut, tax cut, and he shafts us.
Yeah. So again, living in what made you make the move to Switzerland that at all? Because that was before tax issues. Yeah. That was before 9/11. So what was it that made you move to Switzerland to begin with?
California culture. Aside from the fact that I had the opportunity, and I wanted a new experience, I am on the tail end of the baby boom. I was born in the tail end of the baby boom, and I was raised on all the same television programs, all the same commercials, all the same movies, all the same commercial products, all the same sports as everybody else. And I just felt like I was like everybody else, and everybody else was like me, and I could see the programming already, and I wanted to break out of the mold. I thought, this is not me alone. This is my wife and me.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. What do you mean by programming? What's that? What are you talking about?
Oh, come on.
No, I'm throwing you a softball so you can hit it out of the park.
Okay. Well, mind control. How about we start with Paul McCartney is dead.
Oh yeah.
He's been dead for 30 years. The Beatles were a mind control product of the Tavistock Institute. 1967. They took American youth by the hair and dragged them off into their MK Ultra mind control hell.
Okay, I appreciate your incredulity when I said programming. What are you talking about? But I want to approach this as if I don't know what you're talking about. So, okay, hold on. What do you mean Paul is dead? What do you mean Tavistock? I mean, so there has to be a there, right? There has to be something that indicates that you're on the right track to even talk about this at all. So like, where is there even a slightest hint to start looking in this direction of this is not a reality? This is not real. This is a construct.
Well, I can look at my family in America, and they are so conditioned by American thought patterns that not only can they not think out beyond it, but they don't even want to know. They're not curious. They don't even look. Okay? Anybody who has been following pop music, this is before your time and probably your listeners' time, but, back in the 60s, people used to spend, my generation spent half of their disposable income buying LPs to listen to rock music. I mean, all the stuff with the Beatles, all right? We all knew if you played the Beatles song Revolution number 9 backwards, John Lennon was saying, Paul is dead, Paul is dead, Paul is dead. There were all kinds of stuff throughout the Beatles where they were telling all the people that Paul was dead. And as far as I can tell, he was replaced. It was on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band. And you can go out there and Google it. There's thousands of hours on this on YouTube. Well, there's so many people. You can look at it, but The bottom line, though, is that Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Billy Shears, or Billy Shearson was his real name,
right.
And he was likely an MI6 or CIA agent, and he was also a what they call it, studio musician, and they came in there and they tuned their sound, their electronic sound, to work with frequency in people's brains and program them and condition them with the drugs that they simultaneously unleashed on the American youth in that summer of 1967. America changed. 65, America was a completely different country than in 68. And it was a mind control operation of the CIA and MI6. And they were working together with the Tavistock Institute in London. And the Tavistock Institute in London later opened up the Escalon Institute in California in Big Sur. And they were all going there, and all the gurus were going there and taking drugs and learning how to divert and sway the youth and condition them and program them to do things that they would not otherwise do.
Yeah, so are you still a big fan of the Grateful Dead then?
No. I very rarely listen to anything of theirs. I don't listen to much rock and roll. I do a little bit, but I can't enjoy it anymore. The other day, I used to listen to the Stones when I was 13, 14. So I put on Sympathy for the Devil, a song I used to love. And I was listening to it, and I got to thinking, and then I found some podcast where they were talking about it, and basically talking about this rock and roll music, how satanic it is, and how when you listen to it, you're actually providing energy for these satanic forces. And so I can't listen to that stuff anymore. I can't help but think about it. The Dead were a little bit different because the Dead, they never did that kind of music. Most of their music was just kind of fun nonsense, not mean-spirited, but very psychedelic and tuned in with the drugs that they were releasing. Of course, when the Dead came out, Owsley Stanley came out. And Owsley Stanley was a product of Tavistock Institute, and he was the one who had all the free LSD. And it was all part of the acid tests. And Owsley worked with the CIA. He had been in this Bethesda medical clinic for a long time, and that's where MK Ultra was being done. Mind Control Ultra, you can look it up in Wiki. There's loads everywhere. And the CIA gave him, they bought up, one story I've heard is that they bought up the entire production of Sandoz Laboratories in Switzerland of LSD, because LSD is not a simple drug to synthesize, and they gave it to Stanley. And of course, in all these Dead concerts, they were giving out free LSD. And it was all coming from Owsley, it was all coming from the CIA. And all the music, they'd all sat together. The Dead were also very Masonic, if you didn't know. And they all were doing this, they were tuning the music to the drugs for the maximum programming effect.
So if you didn't have the one, it wasn't as effective. So if you were listening to the music, like say for instance, if I were listening to the music, but I wasn't tripped out on LSD, I'd only be getting half the effect.
Yeah, more or less. I think it's the same today. It's just different drugs and different music. Hip hop is a different kind of music, a different kind of drugs too. Meth or whatever. That's what I think happened. They went from in the 60s, it was marijuana and LSD. See, marijuana was the gateway drug. That's one of the things they love to flaunt. They love to tell you what they're doing, and then So yeah, that was their gateway drug. They got the youth on marijuana, and then they whammed them with LSD in California. And in California, is supposed to be the everything happens in California first. They're so advanced, they're so smart, they're so savvy that California does everything first before the rest of the country. Well, they brought out LSD in California, they perverted the youth, and it synchronized with the music, and then came disco, and then came punk, and then came rap, and they all have their own special kind of drugs. And I think it's all programmed out of Tavistock, MI6, CIA, You name it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very interesting foray to be looking into this discussion. To me, it's overwhelming on the one hand because there are so many things to research and to look into. It's overwhelming because of that avalanche of information that's out there.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. That's what I want to say. See, they condition people so they don't pay attention. And if you're not paying attention, then you can't go back and compare what they're saying to what you saw. Right? And a good example is 9/11. If you didn't pay what happened on 9/11, then how would you know that Larry Silverstein was on the phone and he said, pull it when Building 7 came down? Or how would you know that the jet, there was no jet that ever hit the Pentagon, and all these things? You have to be paying attention when they go down. It's the same thing with all these false flags they're doing, like the Las Vegas thing, right? If you weren't watching, paying attention, or Sandy Hook, or the Boston bombing, they're all fake. All of them are fake, but you have to be watching to see all the clues, because then later, things trickle out, much later, 6 months later, a year later, right? And if all of a sudden something shows up, something real important fact, and you didn't pay attention to what happened a year ago, it means nothing to you.
Okay, so let's just, I've thought about this every once in a while when I'm listening to podcasts and discussions on this, and I think, well, what about the person like myself? I'm not a news hound. You know, I never was. And so if I don't watch the news, if I don't pay attention to the mainstream narrative, I'm going to be that guy that doesn't know that there's something else going on. You know?
I don't know what to tell you. I see it all over. People just don't care. They don't follow it. They don't pay attention.
Okay, so let's.
My entire life, I followed it. My entire life.
Yeah.
When I was in high school. Well, in high school, I was reading Car Magazine. But in college, I was already had a subscription to Business Week. I subscribed to The Economist, the Rothschilds rank for 30, 40 years. I was paying them every year, $400 or something. And so I was always following all this stuff, soaking it all up, watching the evening news. And I followed it all until about 2006.
And that, okay, so that was, as we're coming back to full circle where you started this whole discussion. And so that you're saying that in 2006, Building 7 was your epiphany?
Yes, Building 7 was my epiphany.
All right, so since you hadn't heard of Building 7 for 5 years, what was it that came?
I had.
Oh, okay.
I had heard of it.
Okay.
But I wasn't going into it. I was, because it alienates you. I'm basically alienated from my entire family.
Tell me about it. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right? And so, I still don't have anybody I'm not talking to you about. I have a few people, right? But really, they don't even get the whole magnitude. I mean, what does it mean? The government blew up those 2 buildings with 3,000 Americans in. I mean, everything is fake. Everything, it just shatters everything. People don't want that. They don't want the truth. They don't want it. They want to live in their, it's like Matrix. They want to be on their blue pill.
Yeah.
They want to eat the plate.
Yeah. So what about other events that precipitated our involvement in war? How far back will you go in terms of saying, okay, we need to understand that not only was 9/11 this way, but also X, Y, and Z? How far back will you go?
That's the whole thing. So, as I said, I was always politically inclinated, I guess you could say, and I take an AP U.S. history and AP European history in high school, and so, and I'd always followed it, always been following it, and I had to unlearn everything. I forget everything, right? And basically, I'm still unlearning everything. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's not that simple. It's not that simple to forget your attitudes, I was more of a conservative, a Republican, and so in my mind, George Bush is a little better than Barack Obama, but he's not. Is he? No, he's not. So, and those kind of, how do you get past those things, right? I don't know. It takes years, and so I'm still going down the rabbit hole.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is talk about something farther back than 9/11 that you would, so like for instance, if someone
French Revolution.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Freemasons. Illuminati. Weishaupt, Bavaria. He had his plan for the French Revolution. His agent was riding to France to give it to the other Freemasons in Paris. He was hit by a bolt of lightning on the French border. They discovered the plans. The King of Bavaria discovered the plans. He sent them around to all the kings of Europe. Said, look, these Illuminati guys, they're trying to overthrow us and murder us. Nobody paid any attention. The French Revolution came. What was the French Revolution? The Jacobins were the same Jews that did the Communist Revolution in 1917. What happened? The Jews overthrew the French monarchy, and it has been the Jew-run state ever since. So is that far enough back? You want to go back farther than that? The Jacobins?
Yeah, no, it's this. No, this is great, and we can keep. I want to keep this discussion going as long as we can, and not only for this episode, but also future ones. But so, can you make a qualification, okay, for those who aren't in the know? If someone comes across this talk that we're having, you aren't. I would assume you're not talking about people who would qualify themselves as ethnic Jews. When you talk about the Jews and the Jacobians, is this a different flavor?
Oh, it's the same thing as women. Basically, I'm a misogynist because I blame so much of our problems today on women, and I'll say women do it. Women. Doesn't mean every woman. It's the same thing with Jews. It doesn't mean every Jew, but there are a damn lot of them. And I don't want to have to go sort out between the first wave feminists and the second wave feminists and the third wave feminists and the intersectional cis feminists. I don't care about all that shit. And I don't care whether they're Chabad Lubavitch or they're devout Orthodox or if they're Russian Jews or if they're Sephardic or Ashkenazi. It doesn't matter. They're Jews. See, they're all profiting from the same thing. It's the same thing with the women. Feminine privilege means that a woman can go wave her cleavage in front of her boss and get a promotion, and then 2 months later claim her boss patted her on her butt, and then get the big payoff. It's feminine privilege. The same thing with the Jews. Jews can do all this stuff, and then they can claim anti-Semitism, and they can get away with it. I don't want to go into it too deep, but I don't want to go there. It's just Jews. It's just Jews to me. Yeah, sure, it's the Rothschilds. They're the ones, and all their henchmen. Yeah, all those families are in on it. But you see, the Jews are benefiting from it. Just like they do in Israel. All the stolen land in Israel. All the Jews sitting on stolen land in Israel. They benefited from it. Oh, they're a good Jew. Good people. I don't know. I don't want to go down that path.
All right. So my thoughts are taking me now to
That's why I don't want to. That's why I want to be anonymous, because
yeah, you just dropped out. Just dropped out.
Answers for yards, caught up in emotion that's not even yours. Impossible truths like impeccable retards. Lined up clear serving pitch galloping wars. No remedy can't save the lost. In love with the arm. I'm tired of walking into refracted shards. Poor science displayed by disgusting bards. Soaked in sin with your dubious delight. And no hand of cards. Been so long, seems like for love. I'm just too hard. I'm just too hard. Intoxicated ache makes you believe you're spinning in space while you have no shame or grace. It's a disdainful state I used to contemplate how to save myself from my own self-hate. Wonder why I was
I was just typing you to say maybe we should just pick up another day.
Yeah.
If
That's fine.
yeah, I mean, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to just keep this as an open thread for us to keep talking about this stuff, even as I try to learn more about the stuff that we're talking about. So yeah, it's so okay. Since you called back, let's just wrap up real quick. Is there anything, if anybody who's listening to this episode isn't familiar with what we're talking about, can you think of maybe 2 or 3 references that you could throw at the audience to look up and research?
Well, I have a couple blogs that lay this out very well. One would be James Perloff. He has some great articles and some great YouTube clips. I think it's jamesperloff.com, but you can Google it. He has a blog. And who goes into that? Yeah, Henry Makow. Both of them are Jews, by the way.
Can you spell those, please?
Henry Makow, Makow.
Okay.
And they're both on Twitter. Yeah, Makow has his own website. Perloff has his own website. And, I love Brother Nathaniel. You've seen him before, haven't you?
I have not.
Oh, my gosh, you ought to see. He has some great stuff on YouTube. They're all about 5 minutes long. He's an Orthodox Christian, but he was a Jew. Kapner was his name. He's an Orthodox Christian now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll Skype him through.
Yeah.
I'll Skype you through.
Yeah, that'd be great. I've put them in the there's a chat running alongside the show right now, and I've just typed in the names for everybody. But I'll put the rest of the information in the show notes after you send it through. So that'd be great.
Okay, good. And I've had a couple of problems today already with the internet, so it's not always like this. Today, maybe they're doing something I don't know. So in a week,
yeah, right,
maybe we can do it. Or yeah.
Sure. Okay. Great. Well, Swiss Geezer, thanks so much for your time, and we look forward to the next time you pay us a visit.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
All right. You too.
You don't know if it's part of the show.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I will try to improve my presentation of this material. I'm using my phone as my hotspot, so I'm even trying to jimmy stuff together like MacGyver for Wi-Fi. So, Grace Soul, thanks for being here. Mark Doxey, thanks for being here. No Voter ID, thank you. Make sure you share this and subscribe, hit the bell notifications so that you can be up to date when we go live or when a new episode comes out. I'm your host for Red Hen Radio, Travis Finley. Until next time.
I'm tired of arguments and refracted shards, poor science displayed by disgusting bards. Soaked in sin with your dupe is the light and a new hand of cards. Been so long, seems like for love, I'm just too hard, I think. Welcome to the show. You don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. You don't know. Intoxicated ache makes you believe you're spinning in space while you have no shame or grace. It's a disdainful state I used to contemplate how to save myself from my own self-hate. Wonder why I was even made with a dreadful fate, forced to try and away from food plate. No one to help me stay awake or educate. I got to liberate and fight through hidden gates, but my brother, heaven could never be laid in rockets, don't work in space. It's all fake. The show is on Mars. It's a joke, but it's too far gone. It won't be long. Fair-faced peak is strong. We have our song and we march along like streams of knowledge leading to God's holy pond and lives of truth that hits the bound and sings the song that turns mankind from the wrong. We come in peace with a holy gown and all of us wearing our holy crown. So the earth is flat and we probably just won't get along. Just to go along, I said, welcome to the show. We don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, you don't know. Welcome to the show. You don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. You don't know. You don't know. And they teach you to reach for the stars while opening up the bars and keeping you chained down with mortgage bills and cars.
All right, I'm signing off. I put everything in the comments section for the links for you to look up if you haven't done it already. Thanks again for checking out Truth Talks with Red Hen Radio. I'm your host, Travis Finley.
I'm tired of walking into refracted shards. Poor science.